I need some help with the hospital.
Dr. Rollins, do you remember how we helped to build the runway? If we died like the others, I'm going to be in the runway. In a way, it's our runway.
No, it's their runway, Jim. Try not to think so much. Try not to think so much.
I can't remember what my parents looked like. I used to play bridge with my mother in her bedroom. She used to comb her hair. I'd watch her. She had dark hair.
Ladies and gentlemen, the young man you just saw in Empire of the Sun, Christian Bale.
When I recall working with Stephen, I can remember a scene where I had to run down some stairs and say something particularly obnoxious. And I was obnoxious throughout the film, but this was obviously exceptional because I got slapped for it. And that we rehearsed this many times so that I wouldn't actually be hit, so the hand would just miss, but it would look for real. And we spent a long time perfecting this, and then eventually we did a take. So Stephen shouts, "Action." And I ran down the stairs, and I said my line, and smack! She hit me. And she really wasn't holding back. This was no light tap. And I looked up, and Stephen said, "Excellent, excellent reaction." And I said, "Well, good, you know, I didn't have to do very much because she hit me." And he said, oh dear. Well, let's make sure Christian doesn't get hit again, okay? So, all right. So I go back up and we do another take. And I run down, I say my line, and smack! Same thing again. I look up and I relocate my jaw, and they convince me that it really was just another mistake. It's never going to happen again. So I say, all right. Anyway, 4 or 5 times this happens, and finally it dawns on me that she's never going to miss. And what's more, Stephen had absolutely no intention of allowing her to miss. And whenever I was out of earshot, he was giving her the thumbs up and saying, "Same again." Well, despite the momentary pain, it was a real pleasure to work with you, and it's definitely a pleasure to know you.
From Always, Mr. John Goodman.
One day when we were filming Always in Western Washington, Stephen and I found ourselves with a little time on our hands. We were walking down the road between setups, and there were huge cranes and trucks, guys screaming at each other, planes making practice runs, and it looked like a battleground, just controlled chaos all around. And Stephen plops down on the film truck and, God, I love making movies. Well, I love making movies with you, sir. Congratulations.
The co-producer who also wrote the music for The Color Purple, Quincy Jones, The Cube.
I remember the very first time we met with Stephen, and we both agreed to become teachers for each other. He taught me the camera when he was shooting E.T. I taught him the synthesizer when I was making Michael Jackson's Thriller. Then, in 1985, came The Color Purple. And this was a very, very courageous trip for Stephen because there were no special effects. We're just some African-American people walking around doing a Pulitzer Prize story by Alice Walker. I never will ever forget that experience in my life. And Stephen, my brother, I thank you for doing what you did, for what you always will do, and for being who you are.
From Jurassic Park, Samuel L. Jackson.
Steven Spielberg is known for fable and fantasy, and for taking us where no director has taken us before. After Jurassic Park, I thought about that, and I started to realize that there was a powerful sense of human dignity that runs through all of Steven's work. He pits human beings against machines, against the killer shark, the T-Rex, supernatural, against forest fires, and against the fires of hate. He pushes human beings to the limits. He challenges the human spirit. And most of all, there is a defiance that says that in the end, the human spirit wins. Thank you, Steven, for putting me in Jurassic Park. Thank you for the challenge, and thank you for helping my human spirit to soar.
Ladies and gentlemen, George Lucas.
I must say that one of the greatest things I have in my life is being a friend of Steven's. And working with him on indie films was a great experience. He's brilliant in his ability to keep creative focus, especially while dealing with adversity. He's a lot like Indiana Jones that way. Towards the end of the shoot in North Africa, he was supposed to shoot this very elaborate scene of Indy taking out his whip and fighting off a guy with a sword. Harrison, who was very, very ill, said, "Look, Steven, I'm just too sick. I can't keep running to the bathroom like this. You've got to finish this in an hour so I can get back to the hotel." The scene was very, very complicated and involved about 24 setups. And Steven said, "Harrison, the only way I can shoot this scene in an hour is if Indy pulls out his gun and shoots the guy." And the crew standing around him started to laugh. And Steven said, "Hey, this may be a good joke. I think I'll use it." So he shot the scene in less than an hour, got Harrison and the crew back to the hotel, and the joke became an audience favorite. Steven is really a master of imagination. He's a master of spontaneity, and he's really a master of necessity. He understands the craft of making movies better than anyone I know. He is truly the T-Rex of directors. And because of you, my friend, Indy is a part of American film.
Get moving!